प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of Sri Lord Krishna and Sri Ramakrishna, we are studying the 5th chapter of the Gita. So far we have covered 5th shloka. In the 5th shloka the Lord says the status or the goal attained by the Sankhyas, the Jnana yogins, is the same as that of the Karma yogins also. Yat Sankhyaih prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate. So he knows, he is of the real understanding, who knows that Sankhya and Yoga is one and the same. Ekam Sankhyam cha Yogam cha yah pashyati sapashyati. In the last class we have devoted sufficient time to understand how Sankhya and Yoga are one and the same. Karma Yoga is the means of the Jnana Yoga. The understanding of the Atman or the God can come to him who is adept in Karma Yoga. Without Karma Yoga, we cannot hope to realize God, have the understanding of the Atman. So Karma Yogi is almost equal to Jnana Yogi. Subsequently, he will also attain the status of Jnana Yoga. Therefore, Krishna says the goal of Karma Yoga is the same as the goal of the Jnana Yoga. This is what we have learnt in the last class. To Krishna reaffirms this view in the next shloka, which says, Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena adhigacchati. Ayogataha sannyasaha aptum dukkham. He Mahabaho, the mighty armed one. The Arjuna is a great warrior, so there are various epithets or the qualifications Krishna uses to address Arjuna. He Pandava, he Arjuna, Shatrutapana, etc., etc. Mahabaho is one of them, a mighty armed. So you have the power to defeat the enemies. That is the meaning of the Mahabaho. Dukkham aptum, it is very difficult, almost impossible. Aptum, to attain. What to aptum? Sannyasa. So we should remember, ultimately Jnana, the knowledge of God, is the goal of every human being. As Sri Ramakrishna repeatedly says, this human life is for the realization of God. Without that, the life will become wasted. So everyone should strive for the realization of God. This realization of God is also called in Vedanta as the knowledge of Atman or the knowledge of God. The same knowledge of God is here termed as Sannyasa. I told you in the previous class there are two meanings of Sannyasa. One, Sannyasa is the ultimate perfection born out of the realization of Atman. Then the renunciation naturally happens. That is Paramarthika Sannyasa. The sannyasins, those so-called sannyasins who are struggling to attain that state, who have not attained that, they are only sadhakas. Such sannyasa is only ashrama sannyasa. The akar cloth is only an insignia, the symbol of that, that's all. The real sannyasin doesn't need any akar cloth at all. Sri Ramakrishna did not wear akar cloth. Ramana Maharshi did not wear akar cloth at all. The real sannyasa, the paramarthika sannyasa, the realization of Atman, the state of realization of Atman is what is told here. That sannyasa is very difficult to attain. Very difficult means here almost impossible. Only those who are of higher caliber, like Ramana Maharshi, can jump into the state of the sannyasa without karma yoga. But all of us have to struggle, have to get trained our mind through the practice of karma yoga. He Mahabaho, O mighty armed, ayogataha, without practicing karma yoga, sannyasastu, indeed, sannyasa indeed, dukkhamaptum, it is very difficult to attain. Then what happens when one is endowed with yoga? Yoga yuktaha. Yoga here, Shankaracharya defines as Vaidikena karma yogena. So Vaidika, sanctioned by the scriptures, any action cannot be called karma yoga. It should be sanctioned by the Veda. Laukika karma, Vaidika karma, there are two kinds of actions or the activities. Laukika karma means eating, going, working, etc. These are also to be transformed into karma yoga, but especially our worship of God, our sadhanas and our activities, all should be transformed into karma yoga. It is something sanctioned by the Veda. That's why Shankaracharya says, Vaidikena karma yogena. What is the characteristic of the Vaidika karma yoga? Shankaracharya continues, Ishvara samarpita rupena. It is of the nature of dedicating all actions, all activities to the God. God is the doer. The work belongs to God and the results are also belong to God. This sense of complete surrendering all aspects of work is what is called karma yoga. So it involves phala nirapekshena, without hankering for the phala, the results, without having attachment for the results. Because all our actions are result oriented. We don't do any actions without getting attached to the results. The learning how to detach ourselves from the actions and do every action as a service to God, as the worship of the God, surrendering everything to God is what is karma yoga. And such person becomes muni, yoga yuktaha munihi. So the muni word is used for a person who is of contemplative nature. Mananatu Ishvara Swarupasya Munihi, Shankaracharya says. One who is always contemplating, meditating on the form of the Ishvara, of the Saguna Brahman or Avatara he is called the Muni. Manana means constant remembrance of God, constant contemplation of God, constant meditation of God. One who has become adept in that, he is called a Muni. So beautifully, Krishna combines three yogas here. One is Jnana Yoga, the understanding. Sannyasa denotes Jnana Yoga, as I have already told you repeatedly. And now we have understood Karma Yogi is as good as a Jnana Yogi when he becomes adept in that. So Yoga Yukta is an adept in Karma Yoga. Sannyasi is an adept in Jnana Yoga. He is the same as one who is adept in meditation also. So the yogas are all not different paths. They all converge into one goal, that is the realization of Atman. One who is a perfect Jnana Yogi becomes a perfect Karma Yogi, and he also becomes a perfect adept Dhyana Yogi also. So Sannyasa denotes Jnana Yoga, and Yoga Yukta denotes Karma Yoga, and Muni denotes what is called Dhyana Yoga. So we should not make any distinction between these yogas. If you want to realize God, as Swami Vivekananda repeatedly says, we have to take the course of integrating all yogas in our life. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and the Raja Yoga. Of course, we can add Bhakti Yoga also here. We have to develop intense love for Ishvara or the Saguna Brahman. Without love of God, meditation or Karma Yoga or even Jnana Yoga is impossible. So Jnana Yoga is impossible without Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga is impossible without Bhakti Yoga. Jnana Yoga is impossible without Karma Yoga. So every yoga depends upon the performance of other yogas. So it is a harmony of the yogas that is the ideal for the present day, as Swami Vivekananda says. I don't think there is any difference in the opinion of Krishna also. Here in this shloka itself, he has beautifully harmonized three yogas, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and the Dhyana Yoga. Of course, he introduces Bhakti Yoga later. So such a person, one who is adept in Sannyasa, one who is adept in Yoga, he is the same as the Jnana Yogi. See, he is also a man of contemplation. Brahma adhigacchati. So the Brahma word is very important here. Normally, the Brahma word is used for the Nirguna Brahman, the concept of God, about the dualities of this world. When we think of the dualities of world, we have the concept of a creator God. That creator God is called in Vedanta as the Ishvara. That is the normal idea of God we have as commoners. The idea of Vishnu, idea of Shiva, etc. The Ishvara incarnates himself as avatars like Rama, Krishna, etc. If we go beyond body and mind idea, then the idea of God changes. No longer God is attached to this world. No longer God is said to be creator. He is beyond everything. He is the non-dual idea of God. That is called Brahman. But in this shloka, Brahman is interpreted by Sri Shankaracharya as the Sannyasa. This is Paramartha Sannyasa. So the ultimate goal of life is to achieve Sannyasa, the renunciation. As Holy Mother Sharda Devi says, you know what is the purpose of the incarnation of Sri Ramakrishna? Sri Ramakrishna, some say Sri Ramakrishna incarnated to show the world the harmony of religions. But it may be, but the real purpose of Sri Ramakrishna's incarnation is to show the world the importance of Tyaga. You will not find the extent of Tyaga in other incarnation, in other sense, as we see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna is often referred as the embodiment of Tyaga. So Tyaga, as Sri Ramakrishna repeatedly says, for Grihasthas it should be Manasika Tyaga. One should renounce mentally. We have to be with our family. We have to do our duties. Yet a part of the mind always should be fixed on God. Even while we are working, we should always think only God belongs to us. Our family, our relationships, our possessions, worldly possessions, our status, name and fame, nothing is permanent. Only God is permanent. God is the eternal companion, and we belong to God only. And God is the only person that belongs to me. This God-oriented life, even the householders can live. So Sri Ramakrishna's idea of sannyasa is a sannyasi should renounce internally as well as externally. But a grihastha, it is enough for him to renounce externally, internally. He cannot do external renunciation. He cannot renounce his families. He has to live with family. He has to feed his family, his wife, his children, his parents. He has duties to perform. So these duties should become the worship of God. These duties to be transformed into karma yoga. So there is a beautiful resemblance here. There is a beautiful relationship between the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna and the teachings of the Gita, as we can say. So Paramartha Sannyasa is the ultimate goal. Even through Karma Yoga, one will achieve that. So, Yoga Yuktaha Munihi Brahma Adhigacchati. He will attain the Brahma, the ultimate state of the sannyasa, where one understands, one has got knowledge of the Brahman or the God. Kshiprameva Adhigacchati. So that is a wonderful idea. Achirena Adhigacchati. Very quickly. So it is very difficult for us, unless we practice Karma Yoga, to realize God. It is impossible. We are not eligible for Jnana Yoga, as the great saints are eligible. So we have to follow the path of Karma Yoga. Through that, in this life itself, we can attain the state of real sannyasa, real state of the knowledge. That is what Krishna says in the shloka number 6. So what you have to do, O Arjuna, yoga yuktaha vishuddhatma, such yoga yuktaha. So yoga yukta word is carried from the previous verse. Yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadhi gacchati, such yoga yukta. So his qualities are mentioned here. Yoga yuktaha munihi vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi nalipyate. Yoga yukta, as I have already explained, one who is endowed with yoga, one who is a real sannyasi, the man of knowledge. So all these descriptions we have to remember. One who is doing the karma yoga, who has dedicated all his activities to the God, such a person, his goal, he will attain the status of Vishuddhatma. Vishuddha means pure, immaculate. What kind of immaculate state he has got? His mind becomes pure. As Sri Ramakrishna says, pure mind and a pure soul are one and the same. With the pure mind, we can visualize the Atman. The mind becomes like a mirror. through which we can perceive the Supreme Consciousness. Our mind is not like a mirror. That mirror of the mind is contaminated with the filth, kama, krodha, etc. When we can remove all those blemishes from the mind, and our mind becomes opaque, it becomes transparent, and it reflects the light of consciousness. So that the reflection of the consciousness on the mind is what is called the realized state. That is Brahmakarita Vritti, it is called in the Vedanta. The mind will have the content that is Brahman itself. The mind becomes full of consciousness. Then there will be no longer mind. The mind gets merged into Atman. This is how the classical Vedanta describes the realization. So there is an invariable relationship with the pure mind and the pure Atman. As Sri Ramakrishna said, the pure mind and the pure Atman are the one and the same. What exactly is the mind? We should try to understand. Mind has no existence apart from the consciousness. The limited form of the Atman or the consciousness is what is called the mind. The classical Vedanta gives example. The sky is everywhere, space is everywhere, there is space inside the pot also. So we call it as in Sanskrit Ghata Kasha, the space within the Ghata, the space within the pot. We know very well the space within the pot is not different from the space outside. In the same way, a limited form that is created by the ignorance of Atman is what is called mind. The limited form of the consciousness is called the intellect, buddhi. The limited form of the consciousness is what is called the senses. So, when we see consciousness is there, that consciousness is the limited consciousness used only for seeing something. So that we call it as chakshu or the eye. The same consciousness hears through the ear. The sense that is used for hearing, the same consciousness, that is the limited consciousness. So consciousness is everything. The same consciousness, we call it as senses, sometimes we call it as mind, and sometimes we call it as mind. So if there is a decision making, that consciousness is called the buddhi, viveka buddhi, to discriminate, to discern what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. This deciding faculty. When there is same consciousness, when it is engaged in thinking, pros and cons, that is called the mind. The same consciousness which is able to perceive, see, hear, taste, etc., and that is called the senses. So the consciousness is everything. We are living because there is a consciousness. If consciousness is not there, we don't say we are living at all. So it is the difference between a living person and the dead person. So here we have to understand Vishuddhatma means a pure transparent mind. It becomes as good as the Atman. It reflects the light of Atman, so one will be able to see the Atman. And what is seeing the Atman? Atmavid Atmaiva Bhavati. Seeing Atman means becoming the Atman. There is no becoming the Atman. I realize I am the Atman, and there is no place for the mind at all. The mind merges in the Atman. That is the state of Vishuddhatma. And Vijitatma, the Atma word is used in the both words. But Shankaracharya says Vishuddhatma means Vishuddha Sattvaha, pure mind. Vijitatma means Deha. Here Atma means Deha. I have told in these classes the Atma word is used in different meanings in Vedanta. Sometimes the Atma word is used for the mind, Atma word used for the body, Atma word used for the Indriyas also. So we have to understand the word Atma according to the context. So we have to have control over our body, especially the karmendriyas. The Vishuddhatma indicates mind, Vijitatma indicates the body comprising of karmendriya, going, taste, going, hearing, holding, and consist of the karmendriyas like hand and legs, etc. And we also jitendriya. So we should conquer the senses. We should conquer the body. What is conquering of the body is conquering of the karmendriyas. So the body here means especially the karmendriyas. And indriya means jnanendriya, seeing, hearing, etc. So unless one controls, there is no possibility for to become a yoga yukta. That is what Krishna says. So these are all the goals for the sadhakas. Sadhakas attempt to become Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma and the Jitendriya. When he achieves the perfect state, he will become Yoga Yuttatma. So it is possible for us to have complete control over our body, control over our mind, and control over our mind and control over our senses according to Sri Krishna only through Karma Yoga. That is very, very important. As common people, we cannot do any kind of adventurous things because it is very difficult. It's almost impossible. Krishna says in the second chapter itself, Kleshodi katarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dhukkam dehavadbhir avapyate. Actually in the 12th chapter, it is very difficult to practice the Jnana Yoga. So Karma Yoga will lead to Jnana Yoga. That is what Krishna is emphasizing all through these verses. So another very important qualification is Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. In order to understand this, we will follow a very simple analogy method. I have a body, I think I have a soul or the Atman. One body, one Atman. So many people do not know they have Atman. If you are of spiritually bent of mind, you will slowly come to understand you have an Atman. So Atman is different, body, mind, etc. are different. So one body, one Atma. That is the understanding of Jiva. So individual Atma. Individual means for this particular body there is an Atman. That is the concept of Jiva according to Vedanta. That is not the real idea of Atman. So when we understand the same Atman is present in everybody, in all the beings. If one finds the same Atman in every being, every animal, every creature, everything in this world, and such person is called Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Swami Tapasyanandaji in his translation says, one who has identified oneself with the self of all. Now I have identified with the self within this body. Suppose if I identify with the self of another body, then I say I am not different from you, you are not different from me. Suppose if I identified with the self of 100 people, the 100 people are not different from me, they are belong to me, I belong to them. Suppose if I identified with the whole existence of all the self of all the people, and I find no difference between me and others. That is the ideal of Vedanta. Sarva bhutastam Sarva bhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma. The Gita says, The same idea, that idea has taken from the Ishavasya Upanishad. Seeing God everywhere, seeing oneself everywhere, that is the ideal of the Atman. So identifying oneself with the self of all. So if you are a lover of Sanskrit, there are beautiful words, beautiful sentence by Shankaracharya. Sarvesham Brahmadinam Stamba Paryantanam Bhutanam. What are the Bhuta here? Bhuta means living beings. Always Shankaracharya is fond of saying, whenever Bhuta word comes or Sarva Bhuta word comes, Stamba, Brahma. Brahma means the highest position in samsara, that is Prajapati or four-headed Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma, all these things. So he is also in the samsara. There is a recurrence of birth and death. His status may last for 1,000 years, but that status also is a temporary status. From that, the lowest one is the plant. Plants are inferior even to the lowest of the animals, lowest of the creatures. Until that, whatever creatures are involved, whatever living beings come, he becomes the Atman or the self of every living being. Atma Bhuta, Atma means Pratyak Chetanaha, the beautiful word. The Chetana, the consciousness which is indwelling. Here Atma word is used for both indwelling spirit as well as the spirit or the self or the consciousness which is pervading everywhere in the Upanishad. Upanishad doesn't differentiate between Atman and Brahman. So, one who identifies himself with the Atma of every living being and with the his consciousness or my consciousness is not different from the consciousness of a cockroach. My consciousness is not different from the concrete consciousness that is there in the plant. This kind of understanding, not only the intellectual understanding, it is anubhuti, experience, and such person is called here Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. And Shankara concludes his description saying Samyak Darshi Ityartaha. It means he is the real seer. What we see is not the real seeing. We see Atman only in our limited body mind. We say my Atman is limited to this body mind conglomerate, limited body mind conglomerate. But this Atman is not limited. This Atman is everywhere. The Atman of every living being is my Atman alone. This idea, this experience, one who has got, one who has identified with everything, everyone, he is called here Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Na lipyate, he will not be tainted. That means he will not have any blemishes. When we ordinary people do work, we are affected by what is called the raga and dvesha. We have already studied about it. Attachment and the hatred. Extreme kind of attachment is called raga, and hatred, repulsion is dvesha. We cannot do any work without being tainted by the raga dvesha. But this is called the lipyate, lepa. Lepa means binding. This is the bondage of raga and dvesha, and bondage of the kama, karma, kama, krodha. So the bondages are of several types. So in simple terms, we are bound by the ignorance. It is ignorance that creates what is called raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, etc. If a realized soul, yoga yukta, vishuddhatma, vijitatma, jitendriya, sarva bhutatma bhutatma nalipyate, he will not be bound. He will not be contaminated. Karvannapi, even though he is working. That means there is no bar, There is no restriction for a realized soul to continue working. Some very orthodox people say Shankara prohibits people of realization to work. There is no prohibition at all. Kuruvannapi napyate. For such a realized soul, it is not the ordinary work he is doing, like us, with egotism, with raga dvesha. He sees Atman everywhere. Even though he is engaged in his work, he will not be bound. So, generally he works for the welfare of the people. Shankaracharya says, Loka Sangrahaya. Though he is a realized soul established in Atman, he has identified himself with the entire existence, still he continues to do work. Continues to do work. Even if he continues to do work, he will not be bound. Ordinary people gets bound by the samsara, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. They have to be born again and again because we are all after the results of the work. This great soul, the noble soul, doesn't care about the results at all. Because he sees only Atman, there is nothing to gain, nothing to lose. He continues to do work, seeing Atman everywhere. So, and how he does it? There are two shlokas to be read in unison, to be exactly to unison. That means you cannot read these two shlokas separately, we have to read together. So, the 8th and the 9th shlokas. Naiva kinchit karomi iti yuktaha manyeta tattvavitu pashyan shrunvan spashan jignan ashnan gachan swapan shvasan pralapan visrujan grundhan unmishan nimishan napi indriyani indriyartheshu vartante iti dharayan. These two shlokas are to be read in conjunction. So let us try to understand. So let us take up the word yuktaha. Who is yuktaha? Yuktaha means the samahitaha. Already we have understood the word called yoga yuktaha. Here yukta means the yoga yukta, a man of selfless and detached work, one who is practicing karma yoga or one who has become perfect in karma yoga. I told you repeatedly, one who is adept in karma yoga is the same as one who is adept in Jnana yoga. That I have already clarified. Such a person. And he is also called here Tattvavit, one who has understood the exact nature of the Atman. Tattva means always Shankaracharya explains Tattva as the Atmanaha Yatatmyam Tattvam. The exact nature of the Atman is what is called a Tattva. One who knows the exact nature. We also know we are Atman, but we know Atman is the doer, Atman is the enjoyer, etc., etc. But one who knows the exact nature of Atman to be different from body and mind, which is neither enjoyer nor the doer, it is of the nature of pure consciousness, which is distinct, which has nothing to do with the body and mind, is who is called Tattvavitu. Shankaracharya says Paramartha Darshi, one who has seen the reality of the Atman is the Tattvavat. So we have two words here. One is Yukta, as I told you, it is same as the Yoga Yukta, and the Tattvavat. Manyeta. Manyeta means he should think, he should contemplate, or he should understand, he should consider. All these meanings can be ascribed to the word Manyeta. What should he consider? What should he understand? What should he think? Naiva kinchit karomi iti manyeta. I am not doing anything. I am not doing anything. So that conviction is called the manyeta here. He should have that conviction that I am not doing anything. Naiva kinchit karomi. Kinchit means even little. Even the little I am not doing. The least thing I am not doing. Naiva kinchit karomiti manyeta. I do not know I do not do anything. This kind of conviction he should develop. In what kind of work he should develop that conviction? Only in some works or all other works? Krishna says number of examples. In Pashyan, while seeing, while Shrunvan hearing, Sprushan in touching, Jignan in smelling, Ashnan while eating, Gachan while going, and Swapan even while dreaming, and Shwasan while breathing. So you will be astonished to see the examples. So many examples. Pralapan, even while talking, Visrujan, while releasing, and Grunhan, while holding, Unmishan, Nimishan Napi, while breathing in, one who is opening the eyes and also in the closing of the eyes, and even in winking of the eyes, and Shwasan, and Unmishan, Nimishan Napi. Let me recount these examples. Even while seeing, one should think, Yoga Yukta, Tattvavid should think, I am not doing anything. While hearing, the Yoga Yukta or the Tattvavid should think, I am not hearing anything. Even while touching, the Yoga Yukta, Tattvavid should think, I am not touching anything. Even while smelling, the Yoga Yukta, the Tattvavid should think, I am not touching anything, etc., etc. So even while winking, even while sleeping, he should not think, I am not doing anything. So in every work, the work is done by the senses and the mind. I have nothing to do with that. Already this idea has come. Guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. Krishna has already said this. Gunaha, the senses are interacting with the sense objects. So gunaha, one first guna is in the indriyas. Indriyas are interacting with the objects of three indriyas. So I have nothing to do this. Here there are some actions which are mainly wholly mind centered. There are some actions which are involving mind, senses and objects. So all these actions are limited to body, mind and the senses, and I, the Atman, has nothing to do with it. Even while these actions are being done, even while the mind, senses and the organs, mind, senses and the body are interacting with the outside objects, he should think or he should have that firm conviction that naiva kinchit karomi, I am not doing anything. So in Sanskrit, Krishna Shankaracharya says, Pashyan naiva karomi iti manyet. Even while he is seeing, he should have that firm conviction, I am not seeing anything. Shrunvan naiva kinchit karomi iti manyeta. Even while hearing, he should have that firm conviction that I am not hearing anything. So this should be applied to all actions which are mentioned here, and it should be applied to all the actions which are not mentioned here. Every action, every activity, I am not the doer, I am not the doer. It is senses, mind, they are the doers. I am distinct from that. I am the Atman. This status a Karma Yogi attains in the end. And where is difference between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga there? And Karma Yoga naturally, beautifully gets blended, gets united with the Karma, with the Jnana Yoga there. So such person will attain the God. Will attain the God, and he dedicates all actions to the God. So Krishna continues, Brahmani adaya karmani sangham tektva karoti yaha lipyatena sapapena padmapatram ivambhasa. So I think this shloka is attributed to those who are still in doing practice. The earlier shlokas we have read, the description is about those, about such a great soul who has already become adept and who has reached the state of real sannyasa or the jnana. Now, for us, the common people, what we have to do? We have to adhaya. The adhaya is very important. Adhaya is resigning, dedicating, surrendering, renouncing. All these words are indicated by the adhaya. Brahmani adhaya, where we have to resign all our actions in Brahman. Here Brahman means Ishvara, Krishna, Rajya, Shankaracharya says. We have to surrender all our actions to the personal God or the Ishvara. We have to surrender even our breathing to God. We have to surrender our sleeping to God. Our winking of the eyes also we should surrender to God. We have to dedicate, we have to surrender, we have to renounce, we have to give up every action to the God. This is the meaning of Brahmani adhaya karmani. So in order to renounce everything to God, in order to renounce or dedicate everything to God, so we have to give up the attachment towards God, towards action. Only when we give up attachment towards the work, then only we will be able to renounce that work. Suppose if I have attachment towards the body, I cannot give up the working of the body, I cannot renounce the working of the body, or I cannot dedicate the working of the body to the God. Here the interesting thing is, renunciation doesn't mean just giving up. Renunciation means dedicating to the God. This is the central message we derive from this sloka. Brahmani adhaya. Real renunciation is not physically giving up. We shall continue to do the same work. We shall work in offices, we shall work in factories, we will work in commercial establishments, but the same work we dedicate to God. That is the renunciation here. That is the meaning of Brahmani adhaya karmani. So in order to renounce, in order to dedicate, what we have to do is to give up the attachment towards that work. If we still continue to be attached to work, what is attachment? And Shankaracharya beautifully says, it is my karma, it is my action, I am the doer. This kind of identification with the work and the identification with the fruits of the work is what is called attachment here. That is called sangha here. That is called the what you call the identification here. That identification with the work we have to give up. Then only we will be able to renounce all action to the Lord, to the Ishvara. This is a great message we derived, and Shankaracharya goes to the certain extent. We have to give up the desire for moksha also. Any kind of attachment, even attachment for the higher status, that is moksha, is also a kind of sangha attachment. We should completely be free from attachment to the moksha also. Mokshepi pale sangam tyaktva. So he gives an example, Shankaracharya gives an example. Bhrutya iva swamyartam, like a servant performing all actions for the sake of his owner. Every action done by the servant is for the sake of his yajamana or the owner, boss. He will not do any action for his own sake. There is nothing in servant that is called his own, belongs to him. So there is no selfish work at all. Every work is done in unselfish manner for the sake of the owner. In the same way, all our actions should be done for to please the Lord. As we say in our ashram at the end of every event or the program, Priyatam Pundarikakshaha, let the Lord be pleased. So I am doing work in the office, it is for the sake of the Lord, Ishvara, or the Paramatma, for Sri Ramakrishna. Let Sri Ramakrishna be pleased with my work. Let Sri Ramakrishna be pleased with my work in the kitchen. Let me Sri Ramakrishna be pleased with my work in my working field, wherever it is, whatever work I do, whether I work for the family, whether I work for the office, every work should be dedicated to the Lord, thinking that let me be pleased to the Lord. So I should become a servant of God. As Hanuman, the great example, Hanuman did not have any selfish motive. Whatever action he does, the motive is to please Sri Ramachandra. All actions he surrendered to Sri Ramachandra. So we should follow the example of Hanuman and surrender all our action. This surrendering is called the adhaya. Renouncing is called the adhaya. Dedication is called the adhaya here. So this is the meaning of Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tektva karoti yaha. Such a person papena lalipyate. Normally the actions are connected with papa. Here Shankaracharya says papa includes the punya also. Anything that binds, anything that makes us to continue with samsara, recurring birth and death, is called a papa here. Papa is associated with avidya here. Papa should not be taken in its face value. Normally the evil actions are called papa, but even the good actions are also papa, because they bind us to the samsara. As Swami Vivekananda says, good and the bad both are fetters, bondages to the soul. So lipyate nasa papena, he will not be bound by the karma. That papa is a binding factor. Papa is a binding factor. Though literally it is called sin, papa is a binding factor that binds one to the samsara. Lipyate nasa papena. And Krishna gives example, Padma Patra Mevambhasa. Ambasa means water. Padma Patra means the lotus of the lotus flower. So the lotus leaf is born in water and it grows in water and dies in water. But if you put a drop of water on the leaf of the lotus, it will not be wetted. So no way, it will not wet at all. So it is not attached to the water at all. Water cannot wet it. Water cannot wet a lotus leaf. In the same way, we are born in this world. We grow in this world, we live in this world. Whole life is spent in the midst of the worldliness. But we should not allow the worldliness to enter into our mind. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. He gives the same example. He says, boat is within the water, but water should not enter into the boat. If water enter into the boat, then boat capsizes, boat gets capsizes and boat goes into the sea or the water, and that is the destruction. So we should live in this world because we cannot help but living in this world. We are surrounded by people who are full of worldliness, we are surrounded by the objects of the enjoyment, the worldly objects. But we should keep our mind away from the worldliness. As boat, we should not allow the water to enter into the boat. In the same way, we should not allow ourselves to be attached by the worldliness. That is the example Padma Patra Mivambasa. Like this lotus leaf is not affected, though it is affected by the water, though it is in the water. So that should be the state of mind. That is how we should continue to do the work and try to attain the perfection. So when Krishna continues in the 11th shloka, Kayena manasa buddhya kevalair indriyairapi yoginaha karma kuruvanti sangham tektvatma shuddhayi. Krishna explains what is renunciation of the Sangha. Sangha means attachment. Sangham Tektva means renunciation or the detachment. How we should do detachment, what is the mode of the detachment, Krishna explains in the next shloka. So, Indriyaihi Kayena Manasa Buddhya. So, the karma is not done by Atman, as we have learnt in these classes. And Krishna speaks about in the 2nd chapter and 3rd chapter and other chapters also. And here also, Naiva Kinchit Karomit, I am not the doer. And what is the, who are the doers of the action? The action is done by Kaya, the Deha. Action is done by the mind. Action is done by the Buddhi, intellect. And action is done by the Indriyas or the senses. So, Kevala, only, that should be added to all. Only, action is done only by the body. Kevalaihi indriyaihi yoginaha karma kuruvanti. The yogis have the perfect understanding. All the actions are done by only body. All the actions are done by only mind. All the actions are done by only intellect. All the actions are done by only senses. So the kevalaihi has to be appended to every faculty that performs actions. So a kevalaihi, only by body, only by mind, only by intellect, and only by indriya. Who knows that? Only the yoga yukta, yoginaha, the perfect adepts in karma yoga. So they know, I am not doing, it is only body which is doing the karma. It is only the indriyas that are doing the karma. It is only the mind that is doing the karma. It is only the intellect that is doing karma. So, only through the mind the yogis do their work. But we ignorant people say, I am doing, Atman is doing, the soul is doing. But the yogins have the clear understanding that it is body alone that is doing karma. It is mind alone that is doing karma. It is buddhi, the intellect alone that is doing karma. That it is senses alone that is doing karma. So it is the meaning kayena manasa buddhya ke indriyaihi api kevalaihi yoginaha karma kuruvanti. This is real detachment. This is what is called detachment. So they have given up their identification or attachment towards Kaya, Manasa and the Buddhi. They have given up the attachment, identification with the body, mind, intellect and the senses. Sangham Tektva. And what is the purpose of the work for them? Only the purification of the mind. The only purpose, only goal of the Karma Yoga is purification of the mind. Atma Shuddhaye. They do every kind of work for the sake of Atma Shuddhi or the purification of the mind. We will discuss this sloka in detail in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.